Hello everyone, I'm very happy to be featured for this online GDC. I'm Aurélien Peters. I've been working at Asobo Studio for 10 years and I was audio director on A Plague Tale. So we are going to talk about the audio production of A Plague Tale Innocence. We'll cover different areas of the game soundscape, the RAS audio and the tech we use to design it, the stealth mechanics, and more widely, how audio can extend narration, how we try not only to stick a sound on a picture, but to amplify and echo the story. First, let's talk a bit about the game. A Plague Tale Innocence is a story about two siblings' relationship, Hugo and Amicia, and the evolution of this relationship. It's a story about two children confronting middle-aged brutality with Inquisition hunts and Black Plague on background. So you get the big picture of the game, and that's quite dark. That's from this setup and story that we choose to deliver a third-person stealth gameplay. The children are not powerful and they need to cover to survive in this hostile environment. There's also some puzzle elements, a very strong narrative background, and on top of that, we created a technology that made us able to handle 5,000 rats on screen. Rat swarms. They are also a major part of gameplay and story. That's it for a quick presentation of the game. If you want to learn more about the story, don't hesitate to play the game. On the production side, it was a new IP for Asobo Studio, with a dev team of 45 people. We were 3 people for audio, with 1 sound designer, 1 audio director, and 1 composer, Olivier de Rivière. Creating a new IP is tricky, but it's also very passionate. For A Plague Tale, we had a local background. The action takes place in the southwest of France, where we live. So we really had this project at heart and we did a maximum to deliver something personal and authentic. The game took 2 years to be made and quite frankly, we are very proud of it. So I'll now move on with more audio-oriented subjects. As I said, it was a brand new IP, so we had to build identity in every aspect of the game. For the audio direction and more globally for the whole artistic vision of the project, I always remember something our creative director said that describes well the vision and that guided us. It's crude middle age, a rough and rusty era. The story we tell is very dark. It was kind of our leitmotiv and it influenced many choices for audio. We were willing to create something grinding. We wanted the player to hear and feel this rusty and brutal atmosphere. It took some time to find the right tonal balance, to make the sound design authentic without making it too thin. So we looked for inspiration and influences to help. For example, for Foley, we found an interesting influence with Game of Thrones. We really liked the way they handled their Foley, brutal but realistic. As for ambience, with the beautiful and very detailed environment the artists were creating, we knew we had to deliver something very detailed too. We worked a lot on creating those ambiences, with a lot of randomized emitters, with wind, birds, leaf, or whatever the environment needed. We wanted the audio to add something to the picture. On the VO side, for a more authentic feeling, we decided to have children do the voiceover. During the prototype phase, we did some recording tests with our kids, and it was really bringing something. So even if it was costing a lot more time, we felt that it would bring something to the experience. Talking about middle age, the other question was, how do we handle it? Are we going the full medieval folkloric way with Old English dialogues and medieval instruments for the music? Again, we found inspiration with how some movies handled past era, such as Macbeth, released in 2015, or The Witch. They provided an artistic vision to their era without making it folkloric or ridiculous. We wanted to go the same way. Something contemporary with subtle medieval colors, dialogues with a light touch of medieval, and for the music, it was the same. Some colors to remind of the era, but not folkloric. We had many other influences, and it's hard to cite them all, some for the artistic audio direction, others for the technical audio direction, and they really help us build the soundtrack. So thanks to all these games and movies for that. Another subject I'd like to mention is the workflow with the composer. As on every game, at one point, the following question arises. Who will be the composer and how do we work with him? I guess every studio and production are different, and that's the same with composers. I worked with several composers and it was different every time. So there's no production magic trick, no easy answers, but here's some hints to find a workflow with a composer and what was your personal experience with A Plague Tale. So we started by pitching the project to different composers. We had some ideas about what we wanted, and when we pitched it to Olivier de Rivière, we did not talk about the music. First, he wanted to deeply understand the vision of the game and what the creative director wanted to achieve. He was really digging inside the project core. We felt it was really appropriate to our game. We needed someone that really understands the narrative and how the story was told, to be able to add a narrative layer thanks to the music score. It was not about throwing music on a picture. So on top of that, and that can sound a bit obvious, but you need someone that plays the game regularly. That's the only way to understand the interactive needs. Videos are great, but that's not what we are doing. So when you hire a video game music composer, you expect someone that understands the interactive media and constraints. And to be honest, it's a relief for the audio team. You know the composer will be able to provide music systems that will be applicable to your game and how to make them work in an interactive music engine. So yeah, it's really nice to have someone that understands Wwise or Fmod, for example. Especially on small production, I would say it's really important to hire someone that speaks both languages, music and video games. So if you want to work with someone coming from linear media, you need to be prepared to handle audio engine integration and editing. You will need someone to do it. So I guess that's better if we have the person creating the music score handling the integration and editing. After this audio direction and workflow talk, I now elaborate a bit on the technology used. They were quite simple and relied on Wwise, so I won't spend much time on this since it's pretty much standard features that you can find in any audio engines. I'll spend more time on custom tools and specific stuff. So we use a custom in-house engine and Wwise is integrated in it. We implement all the ambient and animation audio in our editor. For in-game logic, we have a custom scripting language where all the logic and dialogues are implemented. If you want to, let's say, trigger music just after a VO line, this is where we put it. So we have environmental reverb for acoustic and a recast array-based occlusion. It's pretty simple, but it provided enough realism for our game. I would say one of our most important tools was our VO Manager tool. It handled all the VO lines, WAV files, and exported them directly into Wwise. Thanks to it, we had a quick workflow and everyone was able to access and listen to all the VO files. Narrative designers were able to write lines that were directly exported into Wwise in text-to-speech format. It was important that the team wasn't relying on audio people for VO implementation. As a narrative game, VO was essential and level designers needed to iterate a lot. As for handling all the WAV files, we got to WAV files directly from the recording studio and VO import process was done by producers. The tool did some sanity checking on file names, so we were sure that the VO delivered were correctly named. So that was great because audio people, we were focused on the mix and audio related stuff and not on managing WAV files. On narrative games, you can get lost managing files and stuff, and this tool was a lifesaver for us because we had like 7,000 VO per language. For audio, we did some scripting with command line tools, SOX and BS1770 to detect huge dynamic range or clipping VO. These free and open source tools are very helpful for small production like us because you can script with them and easily generate reports. To end up the tool section, I will show you a feature we developed for Foley, a system based on characters' bone acceleration. Following the acceleration of specific bones, it drives an RTPC, allowing us to have subtone Foley for every movement of the character. This was really convenient, and most of the times it was enough for our Foley need. Or when needed, we added audio events on top of it. So here's a quick video demo. So we had really simple but flexible tools. Now let's talk about the main feature of the game, rats. In-game, rats are handled like a fluid system. We are talking about 5,000 rats afraid by light and ready to eat whatever they find on their way. Roughly, they would behave like water, approaching and fainting like waves. So we had to work with Olivier de Rivière to create an audio system that would be balanced between music and SFX. We couldn't put music each time rats were featured on screen. It would have been annoying and we'd have loose contrast. With only SFX, it would have been a bit boring and not contrast enough. So we looked for a grammar that allowed us to complete each other. We had to find when to put music and when SFX had to be alone in the soundscape, or how to make them fit both in the mix. Rats SFX, they were here to feedback common states of the swarms. It was an audio state machine reflecting rats' behavior. As for the rats audio, we used a lot of disgusting contents, squeak, pig screams, horses hating. As I said before, we wanted the rats to be organic, so we used organic recording. We were not able to go too crazy on the FX side, so rats were a blend of all this stuff. On the other side, music was here to tell a story and showcase the rats, during cinematics or rats' brutal appearance. For the rats music, Olivier used cello, and thanks to the virtuous playing of Éric Maria Couturier, we had some crazy textures and fast cello lines, perfectly evocating the aura of the rats. Let's have a listen. So this grammar was really helpful to deliver a nice mix. And as you all know, the audio spectrum is limited and it can be tricky to explain for non-audio people in the team. You can have everything up front in the mix. You need to take decisions and you can have an explosion, a crucial dialogue, plus a dramatic music on top of that. So here's a rat video sequence where you'll be able to hear the relation between music, SFX and narration and how we balanced all these elements in the audio spectrum. I subtitle videos, so I won't be bothering you with my voice.
We're scared of the light! It's a nightmare!
We have to get back outside, Amicia!
I know! Keep moving!
Now, another quick video to hear how we showcase the rats thanks to music stingers. The cello is once again featured heavily. When the player was hearing this cello, he knew directly there would be rats around.
Dans la lumière, vite!
Je vois pas de torche! Comment on va faire? Ça a l'air de les occuper.
T'es sûr?
Un autre jambon, ça devrait aller.
To end up this rats talk, I'll show you one last video where you can see the implementation of the rats state machine. I'll now elaborate on another important feature of the game, stealth gameplay. The goal was once again to reunite all the soundtrack's elements and make them breathe together in an interactive way. Stealth sections were critical gameplay sections, and the player needed to perfectly understand the situation he was in. In A Plague Tale, when you get caught by a guard, you have a big chance of ending up dying. So audio feedbacks were clearly important, and on top of that, for immersive reasons, we wanted to avoid too much UI, so audio feedback were crucial for this. I now illustrate how to make the soundscape evolve around common variables. VO, SFX, and music are tied to these variables, and they are evolving together following gameplay evolution. In this example, two variables are used, the level of detections by guard and closest guard distance. For VO, it's connected to Amicia's breathing. When guards are getting close, she starts breathing faster, for example. For music, music layers are evolving following the closest guard and the level of detection. The closest you get to a guard, the more bars you'll have, for example. SFX were played on top of that for detection state change, with a lower beat played each time she's detected. It was really to underline state change. The idea was to make it very immersive and connected to Amicia. We didn't want the sounds to be UI-ish, we wanted them to come from Amicia emotional states. This allowed us to extend what was on screen, and we were a reflection of Amicia emotional state. Let's have a look at the example.
Assez! Je vais vous faire sortir de votre trou! Vous êtes partis en fait. Pourquoi je m'échine? Encore? Hé, vous! Bougez pas, ça serait moins drôle. Non mais... Allez, toi! Reviens!
This was a short footage of stealth mechanics. It's interesting because most of these nuances won't be clearly noticed by players. If your game is played in playtests, they won't say, I like the fact that the low cello entered when I was getting close to the guard, but they will feel it strongly. And that's when you start adding layers of emotions on top of the game thanks to audio. And with studio audio engines such as Wwise or Fmod or Unity, we really have powerful tools for audio. It's really possible to work on the whole audioscape, and that's what interactivity really is, making the soundscape evolve following player's action. Let's get back to music and music grammar. Creating a musical grammar is essential, but what is also interesting is to use this grammar in different situations and contexts. It can help connecting gameplay and story, for example, and that's the key for giving depth to a soundtrack. Let's have a look at what last game sequence and how one music stinger is able to resonate all along a game section, and how a music stinger is able to serve gameplay and narration at the same time.
Look! We found it! The castle!
Whoa. It really exists. Chateau d'Ombrage. It's amazing. I had a moment of doubt, but that's the sort of alchemist legend I like. Come on, let's take a closer look. Oh, rats! I don't see how.
Whoa! Did you see that?
No, run! This is crazy! Never again. building. Unbelievable. I used to live here.
We're very high up.
Don't worry, Hugo. It's far away. Too far to get there in one go.
I try to cover the main aspects of A Plague Tale audio direction. It might feel like a glimpse actually, but I gave you the key elements of our soundtrack. With A Plague Tale, we did our best to not only provide audio over game sequences, we wanted to really provide a new layer of emotion on top of the game that won't be only squeaks. I hope you learned one thing or two, and if you have any questions, you can contact me on Twitter. See you!